Hi everybody, Russ from My Hammers 11. Hope you're all safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you're made aware of any time put new content on. We will be your West Ham fix during the 6 weeks after the deluge of football we've had for restart, while we wait for 2021 season to start. We'll be there to help. So make sure you hit that bell icon, because all these stories just keep you plugging along while there's no football. Loads of great guests, loads of great fans, including today's fan. He's very nervous, but it'll be fine, Mark. Don't worry. It's Mark Pryor. Hi, Mark. How are you?
I'm not bad, Russ. How are you?
Not bad. And I've heard you just come back from the gym. Well done.
Yes. And as I just said, I spent an hour on the running machine listening to one of your other episodes. So yeah,
Well, there you
it's
go.
good. It's good exercise. Yeah.
And for those of you interested, these will be available on all your podcast platforms shortly. But until then, we'll stay on YouTube as well. When did your gym reopen?
Saturday. We were
Oh
the
wow!
first ones down there. Yeah.
Oh
So
wow!
me and my wife were itching to get back to the gym, because nothing
Really?
beats, a proper session. You can go for a run around the park or a nice walk or that sort of stuff, but
Yeah.
nothing beats and actually my incentive is that the treadmills at my gym overlook the pie and mash shop. So it's like an incentive. You think, oh, if I can just do this next mile, I can go and have double pie and mash.
You could have 2 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's a great incentive. I wonder if that was the correct town planning by the gym to do that. But
That was perfect. Yeah.
absolutely brilliant. How's the rest of the weird world we've been living in treated you?
It's I suppose it's been as good as it can be. But
Yeah.
others have struggled a lot more. Um, I've been quite lucky, as my wife has, and we've been managed to be able to work
Yeah.
throughout. So obviously working from home since March has been, at first it was a little bit difficult, but you slowly get into it, and now it's really quite a nice routine.
Yeah. It is.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, the lack of sport was a big
Yeah.
deal, because having no football to follow was, you didn't know what day of the week it was or what week of the
No.
month
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. So I think I used up all of Rob Banks's videos on YouTube. I flushed all of those out.
Good plug. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, his family.
Yeah.
And then you start watching things like the Euro '96 relived,
Yeah.
and even football related films that you just think, oh, I've just got to get something, just watch something. But the streaming services have been brilliant. So like,
Yeah.
you've got the Sunderland one, the Man City one,
Oh, it's
and now that
brilliant.
you've
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
the Tottenham one coming out. And even if
Oh,
you're
I can't
not,
wait for that. Yeah.
yeah, even if you're not a fan of that club, it's great to see stuff behind the scenes. It's brilliant.
It's true. It's true. I mean, I've even watched Iron Man again, and I don't know why I watch it, because it brings a tear to my eye every time I watch it.
Yes.
But it's yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's sort of, you have to get your sort of football fix from somewhere, don't you?
Yeah.
And then you had like this sort of like from from famine to feast, the other way around, wasn't it? And it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
all these games, and you didn't know what day of the week it was. You've missed 3 games already that day.
Yeah.
Very bizarre. All the different times and like 6 o'clock kickoffs and God
That was
knows. Yeah.
hard. Yeah.
Oh,
Because you finish work, you think, oh, hang on a minute, football's on in a minute. I've got to turn it on, and
yeah.
yeah, it was, we had the beginning of this season, and we weren't too sure whether we were going to do well, and
Yeah.
then obviously all this nastiness hit, and I suppose we were, a lot of us, from work, who are all West Ham fans, we were all discussing it, thinking, do we want the season to restart or don't we? Do we want to,
Yeah.
end it
Yeah.
now? Because it's, you look after your own team. But I'm so glad we did, because
Yeah.
that has been the best end to a season that I've seen. It's been
It has been.
phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it has been, and and the thing was, it always made me laugh, because obviously, yeah, we're gonna come back, we're gonna beat Wolves, and yeah, no, you're not. Wolves were never like, it's like,
Yeah.
and then after that game, it's like, oh, we're definitely going down. It's like, well, no, because we would have lost against
Yeah.
Wolves anyway. You know what I mean? Because they're just a good team, and we weren't at the time. And I think that people assumed after restart we were going to become this well-beating team straight off the bat, and took us a few games before we got there, to be honest. But it just shows you when you look at teams like Sheffield United and stuff like that, who were like
Mm.
flying, and restart just came totally at the wrong time. It came perfectly at the right time for us.
Yep.
Although we didn't feel like it at the time, because we just had that Southampton game, weren't we? And it was like,
Yes.
and Halloran was starting to click with Antonio, and then we was like, oh bugger. But actually, I think he did us a massive favour, and just frustratingly now, obviously, typical West Ham, we're playing our best football just before the end of the season, where we're off for 6 weeks now.
Yeah.
So it's like start all over again.
And it feels like the beginning of it, or it felt like the beginning of a new season. So
Yeah,
obviously you've got that massive gap of nothing in between, and then all of a sudden Souček's on the scene, and it's like, well, and I know obviously he was around before, but blimey, where did this guy come from? He was like, it's like a torpedo. That guy, he's phenomenal.
Brilliant. Yeah,
So glad that we've managed to snag him. It's just unbelievable.
It's mental, really, because he is. I think it was Gio or Gon said on on the Hammers chat. You could easily put him on the market today. W money, no props.
There's definite equity there, isn't there?
Yeah, and it is a new way of us dealing in transfers, it seems, and that's a good thing. Are you a crowd off person or a crowd on person?
Well, it's funny because I've seen a few of your past interviews about this.
It's my new question. I quite like it.
It is. When it started, I just turned the TV on, and the crowd was there, and I knew it was fake, but subconsciously you just think, oh, okay, there's football. And it's funny actually because Rob Banks came round to mine to watch the Wolves game, and I said, well, let's see what it's like with no sound, and we flicked it over, and it's like watching a training game, and there's no atmosphere, and I know that some people like it because they can hear what's going on, but there's nothing quite like the roar of a crowd, even if it's fake, like canned laughter sort of thing, something behind it, just to, it's when people slip up and push the wrong button, and that makes it quite funny. So I will admit, I'm a crowd man.
Yeah, no, I am a crowd man as well. I wish so much so that when I'm at the ground, I actually try and, if it's on the telly, I'll put it on, so just so I've got some crowd noise in my ear, because it's like really weird. But what I loved, I think it was a Norwich game when they were obviously 3-0 down to us at half time, and they booed the team off. And that's harsh when your artificial fans turn against when they turn against you, and we relegated Norwich and they were booing them. I thought that's tough, I'd love to be the guy who presses the buttons. You know what I mean? I'd love to and make it my last last day. You just better be sacked, and you're playing Chelsea and you're a West Ham fan, and you put all blue flag, you put Big Fat Frank, all those chants on just to get one-upmanship. But and obviously it sounds like we'll be doing that for at least a few games next season.
It seems that way.
Then we'll see what happens. But I think we need something, and we need a resolution. Although it doesn't seem like with Bournemouth now, they're going to be probably suing Hawkeye and stuff and things like that. But it had to be done, and it's funny because we watched that. I remember watching that game like ha ha ha. Oh, isn't it? Technology's still rubbish. Not thinking that it's going to bite them on the bum. Coming into the season, it's absolutely mental when you think about it. But
that was such a weird day. The last game of the season. So I had. Because obviously, usually you're looking for the who's going to win the title, but obviously this was down the other end, and because we were safe, I could sit back and relax. And I had the Arsenal Watford game on one TV, I had the Bournemouth Everton game on another telly, and I had our game because I didn't have BT Sport. I had that on in my ear, so I'm listening. And my wife's going, right, so what's the score at West Ham now? Because we really wanted Bournemouth to stay up. Yeah. And, because I must admit, I've never been a massive fan of Villa because, I've never liked their style of play. But either wanted Bournemouth or Watford to stay up because they deserved it. The way they played the last game of the season, they thoroughly deserved it. Yeah. Especially Bournemouth. Yeah.
They did. I mean, I to be honest, it's like I could happily have all three gone down because it's like I didn't like Villa because I don't like Grealish and I don't like John Terry. I don't like Bournemouth because I don't like Callum Wilson, and I don't like Watford because of Troy Deeney. And then you're thinking, well, let's get Norwich back up. I didn't mind them, but
we'll have them.
We'll have them back. But it was weird, and it was nice to have. To, as you said, relax that last game of the season, but also have a say in that lot in the end of the season as well. Like we had, as I said, we were a bit of a bulldozer that season. Relegating Norwich. Nigel Pearson got the sack after playing us. Almost buggered Man United's Champions League spots up. and yeah, we did quite well by the end of the season. If you looking back at what we did, and when when Mikel Antonio scores more goals in restart than our
Yeah.
star striker the whole season, there you go.
Yeah, but then the Villa game, obviously you were there, so I could only hear it and see what I saw on Match of the Day, and I think it went down as Yarmolenko's goal. But was it not a Grealish
It's
goal?
Grealish own goal,
Yeah.
which I thought which I was thinking is just poetic
It is.
justice,
That's perfect.
in terms of it being perfect.
It really
And the way
wiped the
they
smile off his face.
And it was really cringy. They were well cringy. When they scored, I could hear there was like obviously the directors, yeah, and then we scored straight after, and we're like, you're not screaming it. And at the end, they did this little huddle, and it looked like the assistant, Stuart, I don't know it was their assistant bloke, but he had like a radio. He had like an earpiece, like radio.
Oh, transistor radio.
Fucking mobile phone. We live in this digital age. We've been living like virtually for the last 6 months, and it was like, and they were like, yeah, and they're like, yeah. It's like, oh my god, it's like you won the league. God's sake, it's just like you scraped staying up by a point. You know what I mean? But yeah, at least it's something to hate next season as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. So
you can't hate West Brom because of Slav and Julian.
Definitely not.
And Leeds will be good.
It's nice to have Leeds back, and as time currently stands, Brentford are winning in their second leg, and it'd be nice to see Brentford or Fulham back in the in the Premier League. Well, I'd say Brentford back. They've never been there, but it'd be nice to see one of them.
Yeah, Fulham are my pick because I want Ollie Watkins or the other guy.
Yeah, you want to poach everyone from.
Yeah, exactly. Fulham, I don't really like Well, I don't really like him.
I've always seen Fulham as like the West Ham of West London. They're like they're never going to win the league, right? But they do play honest football, and you can't hate Fulham. You can't.
And they have a neutral sitting area, which I think is always lovely. So West London, isn't it? Like
it is. Yes.
You can just be neutral in your little neutral section, and obviously, it's always Fulham's always a good day out. I quite like going to Fulham, and they've got obviously the new bit, haven't they? The Bankside stuff, which looks quite nice. But anyway, we digress. We'll see what happens. That's all right. People are used to it now. I've done 130 odd videos on here. People know I just go off on a tangent. So Mark, basically, obviously, you see the West Ham shirt. The first question I always ask everyone, as you know, is why? Why West Ham? Why is it your club?
That's a really interesting question. I mean, I got into football, as in supporting football, quite late. So when I was about 9 or 10, which I say is late. It's about and I think you and I started going around about the same time. So I had a clear choice because I'm from Bromley in South East London, I suppose you'd call it. So there were 3 clear teams you could have gone with, which would have been Charlton, Palace, or need I say it, Millwall, which would have never have happened. However, my dad's side of the family were Chelsea, and my mum's side of the family were West Ham. And it just so happened because up until I was about 11, I was an only child. So Robert Banks, my uncle, was like my older brother. Yeah. And naturally, I followed in his footsteps. And I think there's a picture of me in one of his books. I think it's in Irrational Hatred of Luton, like in the 85-86 shirt, aged about 4, not knowing what the hell is going on, just, blowing some bubbles. Yeah.
Brilliant.
But that's it.
It's all Rob's fault. So it's all Rob's fault.
Definitely all Rob's fault, yes.
He's got a lot to answer for, that man, isn't he, really?
He certainly has, yeah.
And a whole lifetime of misery. Do you remember your first game? Of course I do. So, again, obviously it was with Rob. He took me. And it was against Brentford at home in April of the 92-93 season. Hang on.
We won 4-0 with who scored? Butler, Keane, Morley, and Martin Allen, I think it was.
It's like 4 greats of the game of our era. It's all scored. That's absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
But it was a proper day because I think my parents had been low to let me go to the football because obviously in the the late 80s and all that sort of stuff there was trouble. So naturally you wait till you get a little bit older. But as we were walking in, we were in the East Stand up. I remember it down towards what is now the Trevor, or what was the Trevor Brooking end. And as we were walking up the steps to go in and Rob said, look, remember this because you're gonna want to feel it.
He's such an author, isn't he?
He is. It's so cliche, and it's true. I walked up the steps, and you sort of peer over, and you see the green of the grass, and you hear the crowd, and all of a sudden it just envelops you, and it's like this. I don't know. It's this feeling, this drug that you just can't let go of. Right, that's it now. You're done. I'm staying here. So there is no other club.
And it's when I talk to everyone I spoke to, all the fans particularly, they do say, I was hooked after the first game. I haven't met anyone who said, "Nah, I didn't fancy it after the first game." I was like, "Nah," because as you said, it just grabs you, doesn't it? And as you said, as an impressionable young lad, you could do it with your uncle. Probably first time you could probably swear about getting clipped around the ear. As well. And it's like everyone's. I mean, I remember that particularly. I remember going with my brother and his mate, and this was probably around the 92, 93, maybe a bit later actually, and we took him, and it was probably the first time he was allowed to swear because his mum and dad weren't there. We took him, and the ref was being a typical ref. And and the crowd stopped, the crowd went quiet, and he just got up and went, "Wake up!"
Yeah,
like a little 8-year-old voice. I always remember that. It's so funny, but it's true. It is, as you said. It's not just that, but as Rob said, it's about remembering the memory, remembering the view when you go out onto the stairs the first time. For some reason, that grass looked greener than any other grass I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And that's it. You're hooked, innit? And it's just the smells. It's like I'd love to be able to recreate some of the smells that you had from Upton Park and pipe them into London Stadium. So the cut grass was always one I got. I always got that smell. And the other one was outside, the two burger vans opposite each other, with on the smallest road in the world, and they're opposite owned by the sports club, and just the smell of those cheap burgers, just takes me back.
There's nothing like it. But it's I don't know. As you get older, Saturdays don't seem like they did when you first started going. It was. I suppose as you get older, you get more responsibilities and everything. But when you're young and you're going to the football, everything's possible and everything is brilliant, and the sun shines brighter, and it's just the smells are much better, and it's just I don't know. That's I think when we left Upton Park for the London Stadium, I think that's one of the things I was sad about, is the fact that memory is, although it's up here, it's gone. Never going back. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. No, it's true, and it's just one of those things, isn't it? You think about, like the other day, it just crept. I think I mentioned someone else the other day. I was talking to my wife, and I was like, I popped down Erkans, and I was like, I haven't been Erkans for 10 years. Like the one for the Bobby, where the Brooklyn and Bonds mirrors. I've been there for years, but for some reason I was meant to be going. I was going to the local chip shop, but I called it Erkans. I was like, where did that come from? But. And I was like, I could do when I was really, I could taste it. The cheap burger from Mercat, it's really funny, isn't it? Just one word or one memory conjure up the smells and the tastes, and
definitely.
And always, you had to. I remember we always came in with a pocket full of bottle tops, because they always took your bottle top off your Diet Coke, and so right, we always had spares. Fuck you, beat the system. But I used to love it. So obviously, since then, lots of memories. Some obviously not so good, better. Any of them stick out to you, Mark?
Yeah. So there's, all the time I spent going with Rob. Yeah. Because we were, like I say, like brothers. So it was always great. And really, really thankful for that. But then it's interesting, because as I got older, as I'm sure you do, you find that you start taking other people to games. So I remember the first game that I took my younger brother to. He was 11 years younger than me. I think it was Wigan. I couldn't have picked a more boring game for him, but but he's now hooked, and he's a ardent West Ham fan. And then I took my son to, it was Hull under the lights, and then
you picked some cracking games for your family.
Absolute crap. And then my daughter, I think, was Man United at home when Rooney got got in trouble for scoring and then swearing down the lens of a camera. I think.
Oh
That was
yeah,
that. Yeah, she fell asleep, halfway through the game,
yeah.
and then God, I do take people to some crap games. I took my wife to Crewe in the Crewe at home in the cup. It was just a load of old rubbish. Anyway, sorry, I get away. So yeah, games that stick out. Obviously, as a West Ham fan, it doesn't matter whether you win or lose. It's how you play, right? I think
Yeah.
that goes for all of us. And if you show that you try hard, then win or lose, you've done a good job.
On the booze, yeah.
So the 2006 Cup final for me is one of those big memories.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I couldn't get a ticket for that, so a load of us schlepped up to Green Street and went into one of the pubs. I don't think it's there anymore. It was left from the station. We went in and settled down and started watching the game. And I thought, as we all did, that we were going to win it. And I was coming back from the bar in the dying seconds. And just as I sat down, Steven Gerrard scored his goal. And just as that goal went in, I felt this glass ashtray whoosh across the top of my head and smashed on the wall. I thought, good job I sat down.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, I don't really want to give too much away from my 11 before we start, but you've got the 2-1 win over Wimbledon that Di Canio scored that wonder goal in. That's something that you'll remember forever. I'm sure a lot of us will remember us going 5-0 up against Burnley, and them coming back out in the second half like they had about 5 extra players, and it went 5-1, 5-2, 5-3 to the point where we were actually looking at the clock thinking, come on, hurry up, run it down. So it's games like that stick out, and I think the biggest one for me that sticks out was 2016. We had the FA Cup fourth round replay against Liverpool. And it went to extra time, and we thought, we're gonna go to penalties here. And I was with my wife in the upper east stand, just above the away fans. And when Ogbonna got that goal in the 121st minute, the way the place erupted, especially because it was under the lights, that just stuck in my memory. Yeah, it's phenomenal.
And you're right about going with friends and family for the first time, sort of game sticking. Haven't been with my daughter yet. It's difficult because obviously for me, because obviously I work there, so it's like I can't really sort of like shepherd her in. So I've got to be good enough game to get my wife along or someone, and then she'll come. But I remember, my first mate, I think one of my best mate. Well, I'm going to get him on the channel soon, so it'll be quite a funny story. But he was a vegetarian before he came to the first game. I took him to his first West Ham game, and by the end he wasn't, because bless West Ham, but they didn't have at the old ground. They didn't have a huge array of vegetarian options.
No, not really. Not unless you like chips or something.
Yeah, it's chips or a roll. So he went, I'll try. I'll have a burger. And and I changed him from being a vegetarian. His mother never forgave me for that. But but I know what you mean. It's like it's all fun and games and going with friends. I used to go quite a lot. My mates used to go to a lot of the reserve games when I was at uni, so I was doing the announcing for the reserve games,
right? And
bringing them down from Loughborough. We all get in back of my Fiesta, bomb down the M1 for an hour and a half, watch, West Ham Fulham reserves 0-0, and then get back in the car and zoom all the way back up to Loughborough. But it's great days. I loved it. But it's all those things just stick in my memory. And it's
and
that's what it is.
I think it's and again, it's not just home games; it's away games. So,
definitely.
As I said, I used to go a lot with Rob, and then he moved away from London for a while, and I thought, well, I'd better start going to some games on my own.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and do nothing. So I did, and you get a couple of away games in, and before you know it, you find you've gone up and down the country, and St James's Park in January is not a nice place to be. It's pretty cold and a long way away. But then, I mean, I don't know about you, obviously because you work there, but back at Upton Park, you had a routine when you went, especially as I was a bit older. So we used to make a point of getting off at Plaistow and stopping at what was I can't remember what it was called now. Was it the Duke of Wellington or something like that? There was a pub near Plaistow. Obviously, that closed down. Then we moved to the Black Lion, and then yeah, then that started getting a bit crowded, and we thought, hang on, there's quite a walk from, belly full of lager from
Yeah.
Plaster all the way to the ground. So yeah, we started going to the social club with some really good friends from work who are ardent Hammers fans. So we found ourselves in there every game, and it was you walked in even into the social club. You just walk in and you know that everyone there is the same as you, and it's wonderful. You can't
It's
beat
that
it.
collective spirit, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
what I think. It epitomizes this channel, because that's the whole point of this channel is it's grown because people have given me, like, Rob gave me your name, and that's how it grows to get more and more stories on the channel. I think that's why people like it as well. It's we'll talk about the 11 in a tick, but it's about the journey, and it's about why you're West Ham, the stories, because everyone has a slightly different take on everything, don't they?
Yeah.
So not one
Yeah.
person's story is the same, and that's what I love about it. There was one the other day, and literally I said, "Why are you a West Ham fan?" He said, "Oh, because my dad is." Okay, well, why is your dad a West Ham fan? And he went, "Well, he literally he decided he wanted to pick a football team when he was like 8, and he opened up the newspaper and he went, that one," and it was West Ham.
Like he's
Absolutely
picking a Grand National winner. Brilliant.
Exactly. And I was like, oh, if only it was Liverpool for you. You've had a much happier life and stuff. But yeah, I know. But, and that, I think that's half the fun of being a West Ham fan, is those, as I said, we don't have the most sort of victorious team song, to sort of get everyone's morale up about things fading and dying. But
Yeah,
and that
exactly.
sort of, it epitomises us as fans. I think we have that sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a complete sense of optimism for next season now, and I know it's going to be 3 games in, and it'll be back to normal.
Dashed. Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm the same every year. Every year, I'm like, yeah, this is our year. We're going to have a cup run. We're going to be safe by January.
Yeah.
We're going to push on, and I actually genuinely believe it this year. But I know. But I know we're going to lose 5-0 to West Brom the first game of the season, or Leeds or something like that, and we'll draw against Burnley, and we'll have about 5 points by the time we get to November.
Good damn.
But
yeah.
it's what it is, isn't it? We start all over again. But that's just being a West Ham fan. And
That's when everyone starts calculating. They go, "Oh, if we get 3 points from so and so, and then we get a point there, and then we get a couple of points there, oh, we might be all right." Everyone starts getting their calculators out, and you're right. Because we've all got friends who are Man United, Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea, and good luck to them. They're they're good teams, and they've got lots of money. But if I'm honest, I think West Ham fans they like the not knowing that they're gonna, not knowing that we're going to succeed. It's a bit of a gamble.
Yeah.
That's what's nice about West Ham.
That's what it is, and it's true. I mean, when I interviewed Akabusi, he said what he loves about being a West Ham fan is, it's like, you can imagine him just like, just like so enthusiastic. We know we're not going to win the league. We know.
Give it all that.
Give it all that.
Yeah.
Bless him. I love him. But we know we're not going to win the league. But I just love those days, and they happen 2 or 3 times a season, where I can go to my Chelsea friend or my Tottenham friend and go, "Ha, we beat."
Yes.
And that's it. For the rest of the season, we know it's going to happen. There's always going to be 2 or 3 games. I always knew he was going to turn up against Chelsea. I always thought he was going to get at least a point at Man United, and you could predict them. You just knew. We almost beat Liverpool really at Anfield. We're seconds away really from doing them really. And the Arsenal game as well. We were unlucky to lose that one. And yeah, that's just being a West Ham fan. Anyway, let's get on to 11. Let's get into 11.
Right.
Because that's only half the show. We've got to do the 11. And so the only rule is you have to be alive to have seen them play. That's it. That's the rule. Anything else goes. You can talk about who you want, whatever context. It's all right. I'm going to take my glasses off, because then everyone will not know that I've got a light on. Anyway, I haven't got makeup on. I've just my eyes getting better. For those who are interested, I watch. It's getting better. There's a few people who worry about me. None in my household. Do, yeah. None in my household though, so it doesn't matter. Right. Anyway, so who is between the sticks for the Pro 11? So what are we going to do?
Right. Well, I'm not gonna go on about each player. I'm gonna rattle through them, because I think they speak for themselves. So between the sticks, there is only one choice for me. because of when I started going to West Ham. Obviously, everyone else is, they picked Phil Parkes, etc., and who is a legend, a true legend. But I never saw him.
No.
So for me, my hero between the sticks is Ludo.
Yeah.
Right. It has to. There's no doubt about it. And the fact that he played for so long with us, went away, came back, as part of the training squad. It's just so nice, especially at Nobes' testimonial.
Yes.
A few years back at Hampton Park. It was it's lovely. And for me, he'll always go down as a great.
And he just seemed to be our keeper for years.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? It's always seemed to be. It's like like a comfy jumper. He's just like it's always there. How long have I had this thing for? And you're like, God, 15 years. These pair of pants. No wonder they walked out themselves. But yeah, no, it's true. He's a lovely guy, off the pitch as well. And I will convince him to come on the channel eventually.
That'd be amazing. I remember cool. When we had the old West Stand, and you used to be able to go there and have your old autograph book.
Yeah. Oh, he's back. Don't worry. He's back. Don't worry.
Yeah. This was the days before selfies and things like that. And you had a pen and autograph book, and I was with Rob, and he went, "There's Ludo," because he was my favourite player. It's Ludo. Oh, Ludo. And I just remember looking up at this guy, thinking, "My God, you're huge." I'm, I was only about 3 foot. So yeah. Definitely, and
definitely, he's a great guy, and he's one of those players who, I think, I'll be honest. Sometimes I think I gave him more credit than he had, because I thought he was a fantastic keeper. And watching Rob's stuff back on YouTube, he made a few mistakes.
He did.
But I put the claret glasses back on. You know what I mean? But what keeper hasn't for West Ham?
It didn't. And the thing was, I think it endeared him to a lot of people, even though he made mistakes. No one's perfect, but he did play like he was claret and blue through and through. Right? He's not going to. So that's, as I said before, it doesn't matter whether you win or lose. It's whether you try. Whether you go for that last ball, whether you go for that last tackle, doesn't matter.
We love a guy who just runs after a pointless ball, then it into the corner.
Yeah, exactly.
We know it's not in Dowie. We know you're not getting that ball, but well done.
Yeah.
Well done for running.
Yeah, you've shown us a bit of entertainment. Well done. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like all right, okay. Ludo's in goal. Go on. We'll go left back then. Who we go left back, man?
Left back. Well, you might have to forgive me for my positioning, but
it's fine. Don't worry.
I've done it.
You just go for the team as you want to, Mark. Go on.
Yeah, okay.
I'll let you do
left back. There is only one player for me, and again, from when I started going, and he's been a pick on so many of your other episodes. It is the Terminator.
Yeah.
It is Julian Dix.
Yeah.
I've never seen anyone like him on the pitch, where he will.
No.
He'll run at attacker, and they will most of the time jump out the way, and I've heard his crunching tackles and things like that. But at the end of the day, he's having seen him outside of the pitch, he's a really nice guy. He's so down to earth, so caring. I remember, what was it, back in 95, 96 when Ludo got sent off against Everton, and he had to go in goal and face a penalty, and you see him putting Ludo's shirt on, and these sleeves are coming down, and you're thinking, oh, it's poor sod, but. He endeared himself, and the fact that he came back and he managed the ladies team, and then was a coach as well on the the men's team. Just think, he has to be in the squad. If anyone has been going to West Ham for longer than 20 years, Julian Dix definitely appears there.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, Terminator's in. Who's going to be next then, Mark?
Okay, so I'll go right back, and then I'll do my two middles. Right,
yeah.
So right back. I'm not sure how many people have pulled him out, but I'm going with Stevie Potts.
Oh, yeah, Stevie Potts. God bless him.
Yeah. And massive that's just because he was so consistent. Again, he was a gentleman on and off the pitch. There's not really much more to say. I mean, he got the one goal, didn't he? He got the one goal against Hull. Yeah. And I do remember it was, it must have got to be about 15, 16 years ago now. A friend of mine was doing the Knowledge, and we were chatting. And he said, "Oh, Mark, you're a West Ham fan. You're a West Ham fan, aren't you?" I said, "Oh, yeah, I am. Yeah." He said, "Do do you know someone called Potts? I went, yeah, what, Steve Potts? He went, yeah, I got him on the phone. Do you want to talk to him? And I had a conversation with Steve. I thought, hello, Steve.
Yeah.
A proper hero, and he was there, good as gold.
Yeah, famously,
really nice guy.
famously a taxi driver, wasn't he, as well?
Yeah.
And now in the under-23s and stuff, where he deserves to be, which is great to see. But yeah, no, he's a gentleman, absolute gentleman. Steve Potts is. I love him to bits. Who's next?
Right. So we're going through the middle now. So Alvin Martin, there's no one else other than him, to be honest with you. If you look at his statistics, he is one. I know people banned that word around a lot, Mr. West Ham, but he really is. He's one of these, true West Ham legends. If he doesn't get an honour, because of his services to West Ham at some point. Oh, didn't he get like 2 testimonials? Wasn't it something like that?
2, yep, double testimonial, yep.
Yeah. And for that, he gets into my team. And my next player, it was pretty much an entry and an exit. So as this guy was coming out, Alvin Martin was leaving. So my other defender is Rio. Has to be.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, and Rio, because he was such a good product of the youth academy and the way that we bred our players. He was true to West Ham. He was a great defender. He picked up the mantle. And then when he left, he was. I personally didn't feel that he, when he went to Leeds, that he was anything other than someone that was going on to do bigger and better things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he did. He took his game by the scruff of the neck and raced away with it. And again, I mean, everyone has their personal troubles, but he's had his fair share of personal troubles, and he's dealt with them amazingly. And you think this is someone that's been a player from a very young age, and he's dealing with life really well. Yeah. And for that, he gets my thumbs up. He's good.
Yeah, definitely. No, he's a class act, and he's one of those players. Players come and go. But he and I, sometimes I almost don't forget they played for West Ham, but it's almost like it's not like someone like Chiarte or someone like that. I'm thinking, oh yeah, he played for us for a few years, didn't he? Rio's different. I always think doesn't matter when he was playing for Leeds or United or England. He was always West Ham's Rio Ferdinand. Yeah, he always just had that. I had that close association with him, and I just think, and he still speaks really highly of the club as well, and and he commented on one of my Twitter posts. I was like, oh my god.
I mean, he's a London boy as well. So I mean, exactly, I think he appreciates what football means to the East End and things like that. And I know I say the East End. I'm not from the East End. I'm from South London. But there is a certain type of player that can can gel with the people that support West Ham and live around there, and he did that. And I like him.
Definitely. All right, who's going to be next then, Mark?
Right. Who to pick? I was thinking of putting Marco Boogers in there, but I thought, no, I might not waste my time.
He's appeared. He's appeared in someone's. James Jones from We Are West Ham podcast. He actually has, and probably has the only person ever in the world to have a Marco Boogers shirts. Oh, so God. Like on the back, he put Boogers. He literally bought a shirt that day, and when he signed, and everyone was like bigging him up. So he's got Boogers, whatever it is, 13 or whatever on the back of his shirt. But yes, and Martin Allen was going to put him in for a joke because he used to room with him.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah,
fair enough.
I mean, he lasted all of 2 minutes, and then took Neville out, and that was it. So that was it. Yeah. So no, he's not in my team. So please don't put that one in. Right. No, so left back, not left back, left side. I would like Trevor Sinclair.
Tricky Trev.
For no other reason other than you could play him on the left, you could on the right, you play in the middle. God, he would just do anything, right? And when we first came up to the Premier League and he was with QPR, you sort of thinking, oh, this is a serious player. I like him.
Yeah.
When we signed him, wow, this is good. So yeah, I can't bash on too much about him. He's just a brilliant player in my eyes.
He was. He was the right player for the right job, and he just. You're right. He's one of those players who could. I think he started up front for us. He made his debut up front, and I think he played at a wing back, and a bit like Antonio really now. It sort of plays everywhere. But Trevor was, he was a great player, and obviously I think, and he resurrected his career at West Ham, which is very unusual because usually we get players at the bookends of their career. We never get a player a couple times where he's in the peak, and he came and he was, obviously everyone knew of him because of his bicycle kicks and stuff at QPR, but he wasn't really putting up trees when he signed for us.
No.
And I mean, we got him for like Dowie and Roland and a couple of million or something, like a typical Harry signing. And then he became this, he just resurrected his career, got into the England squad and everything. Yeah. So he was brilliant. But Tricky Trev's him. Who's next then, Mark?
Right, I'm going to go on the right side, and again, he may be slightly out of position, but I put him there to fit him in. It's Scotty Parker. It has to be, and I know that a lot of people say, well, he left, but blimey, when he was with us, he was one hell of a player, and I had the honour of being able to say that I played against him at Sunday League. So I obviously never knew that it was the Scott Parker when I was playing against him, but years later, you think, God, that was that player that really had something, and you knew he was in safe hands with Scott Parker. You knew he was always going to try and create something, again, if you've ever seen him play live, you're not going to be going anywhere else, are you?
Nah. Are you one of those people who always, when he was on the telly or when he was playing at West Ham, you go, I played against him, like every game. It was like your story. I'm Scott Parker. Yeah, when I played against Scott Parker. When I was on the books, when I was on the books, and me and Scott Parker, we were roomies together. No, I was all that with. I used to play rugby when I used to play rugby a bit. I played against Joe Worsley. And so obviously when he played for England, I was like, me and Joe, well back.
we're like that.
We played like different schools. I was a scrum half. He tackled me, and I had to go off because he winded me because it was so powerful a tackle. But Scott. Me and Scott. We were like good baits, and is it? Do you know what? It really pisses me off when people don't put Scott Park, don't give him enough credit, because he was so instrumental for us. He kept us up for beforehand, and he went to another club, but he went to another club to better his career, and people and it's like the same people who put someone like Payet or in this he's a legend. Scott Parker had more West Hamness in his little toe than Dimitri Payet. Yes, he was a fantastic player and technically the best player I've ever seen in West Ham, but Scott was just he was just and the influence he had on Mark Noble, people forget. And I think like Mark does the little turn that Scott did, the little turn around. Mark does it as well. I saw Declan do it the other day, and I think I think the whole Tottenham thing just really winds me up, because he gave, someone sort of mentioned it the other day when he was signing for Tottenham, like the day before he was playing for us. He could have. It was like a wet Wednesday evening at Watford or something like that, and he didn't have to do that. He knew he was going to Tottenham, but he still did it. And people just. It's this old school mentality that football should be loyal, and as you said in the Alvin Martin days, they were, but it doesn't happen nowadays but
it's the difference between. You've got people like Scott Parker, who you say played the night before he was moving, but then, and I'm not gonna knock the guy, but Payet was brilliant, but when he wanted to move, you could tell that his head was down and he was in a sulk, and it's like, right, just go. I'm sure a lot of people that have been supporting the club for a long time will say, if you don't want to be here, go.
Fuck off,
fuck off. Don't need you. Ta-ta.
No, it's true. It's true, man. And I just think Scott Parker just doesn't get enough. And as I said, I would like to see Fulham go up as well, partly because of Scott Parker as well. Because we'd have Slav back, Julian back, Scott Parker back. Nice.
It's the old team.
Although Swansea got back, I forgot that Andre Ayew still plays for Swansea.
Yeah.
Bro, because I saw a picture and I thought he'd retired or something. No, he's up front. Up front for Swansea. Fair play to him. I liked Andre
Yeah.
Ayew as well. Right, okay. Scott Parker's in. Who's next then, Mark?
Right, we're going to go in the middle.
Yep.
And part of the Scott Parker influence, I have to have Nobes. Mark Noble has to be in there, right? Because he was Parker's deputy, wasn't he? Really?
Yes.
And what he's grown into as a player and a captain is he's going to go down in history as one of the greats. You know, he's another Bonds, another Brooking. You know, he I can't speak highly enough of him. He's just brilliant.
Either. Yeah, he is.
I mean, he has his off days, as every player does. But then when he's turned it on, then he's brilliant.
You're totally right, and he is, and I think there's something really special about having a fan who's your captain, and is you know what I mean, because you know that he would hurt when he's lost a game. You know, you don't.
Yeah.
You know, particularly with, like, as you said, a Payet or Pellegrini, for example, as a manager. Yeah, professionally, he's frustrated, he's lost. But Mark, you feel like when I've seen him, you know, when he's not been in the squad, he's been set up in the disabled areas on the stadium when there's obviously no fans there. He kicks every ball as a fan, and it's lovely to see, because you know he's just like, he would be the one ripping into everyone if they're not delivering, because he not only has the professional side, but he has the emotional side, and it's just I think that's why fans appreciate him, because you don't get that very often. You look in the captains of various other Premiership teams, they're not fans. They're just very rarely are they a fan of the club, and that sort of one man club, 500 games for one club, it's old school. You know, it's old school. Having a testimonial is old school as well.
Yeah.
And he's like that bit, which I think when he does retire, it'll be a real loss, because I think you'll lose that connection between the players, the team, and particularly, well, depends. If certain Mr. Rice is still around, it won't be such
Fingers
a loss.
crossed.
But oh God, yeah. We'd love another 500 games, please, Mr. Declan Rice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Or another 401, because he's played 99 Premier League games already.
I know.
It's
and he's so
mental.
young as well. And even when he first started, you see our new player, new signing, Rice, and you're watching him, you're thinking, okay, well, we'll watch a few bits and pieces. Is he going to be another Freddie Sears? You know, I'm not knocking Freddie Sears, but
no.
or is he going to sort of fade away, or is he going to go on to better things? And the way he's just exploded,
brilliant.
He's just phenomenal, and he does remind me. I know he plays sort of slightly out of position, but he reminds me, and I never saw him play live, but of another Billy Bonds. If you look at him, he's got that determination and aggression in his face that you think, I do hope we can keep him. Nice.
Oh, I mean, also, he's played every minute of the Premier League this year, and there's only 4 people who've ever done it before him, or he's one of 4 or something like that. He's a phenomenal man. Anyway, Nobes is in. Nobes is in. Cool. Who's next, Mark?
Right. Okay. We won't dwell on it too much, because we're going on. But Frank Lampard. Frank Lampard Jr. Obviously. Junior. And that's purely and simply because, again, like Rio, was a product of the academy. Yeah. He was a great player. Yes, he left, to go on to do bigger and better things, which he's achieved, right? And again, you can't hold it against him, because he's progressed himself, right? And look at what he's doing now at Chelsea. He's doing a great job. Nothing else I can say, really. No. Proper guy.
No, I agree, and I think again, he's another one. I think when you look back, he was a really good player for us, and speaking to the players that he played with at West Ham at the time, he knew what the fans thought of him in terms of he's only got in because his uncle and his dad's on the, and he would train twice as hard as everyone else.
Just to prove everyone wrong.
Because Harry admitted it when I interviewed him. He thinking about it, he probably did give Frank a harder time because he knew he was that good, but also he knew that nepotism was often suggested and stuff, but he did get one of the Anwar Udin, one of the youth team guys. He would say he'd get in and he'd just after the session go and sit down, something to eat, and Frank were like, right, I want to go and do some 1-on-1s. Can you come back? And he's like, but he would train twice as hard.
Yeah,
And,
and that's all you can ask for, isn't it? Really, and
exactly.
he proved his worth, and again, he's proved himself at coach and a management level.
Definitely.
He's done a brilliant job.
Yeah. All right,
So,
Frank,
yeah.
Jim. Who are we gonna
Cool.
have? Who's next?
Right, my top two.
Yes.
Now, luckily, I mean, my all-time favourite West Ham player is Frank McAvenny, but I was never old enough to see him play live.
No. Yeah.
Right, it's quite sad. Although I think I managed to see him when Sky One were doing a Premier League All Stars competition.
Oh yeah, they used to, do you remember they used to do it? Didn't they? Used to all the old boys. It's like 7 aside or whatever, wasn't it? And it was
That's
like,
it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember I got to see Frank Lampard and one of my mates from work. See, you've actually seen him score now. It's like, yeah, but it's not quite the same. It's indoors and it's
Yes.
7 aside. Yeah. So no, he's off the card. But I'm going to go with the next best thing. I'm going to have Tony Cottee.
TC. Yeah.
Because obviously we were lucky enough to see him when he came back for his second spell, and he's another legend.
Great player.
Yeah,
Mr. West Ham. You know, there's not much you can say about TC. You know, he's a lovely bloke as well. And actually, all the guys from that era are just lovely blokes. You know, we've had him on the channel, and very similar to Maka actually. They just make you seem like, you know, that the questions you've asked them are probably the first time they've ever heard that question, and they're probably not. But you know, but he's like just me. I mean, Maka particularly, and TC. We chatted for about an hour before and about an hour after the episode, just talking about West Ham and his thoughts, and they've all got really interesting thoughts about West Ham, and it's funny when you talk to some of them like Mark Ward, and we spoke about it. I tell you what, if our 85-86 season played this lot, we'd beat them 5-0 before we've even started. And it was like, probably right, to be honest. But and that's what I love. And TC particularly, he's so, he's such a football fan. He's such a stats man. It's like he loves the stats. And I just think he's great. And I'd love him to, he does that ambassadorial role with Ferrero Rocher's at West Ham. But I'd love to see him involved in other ways as well, because I just think I think we need, and we're starting to have more West Ham people in the coaching staff, and I think in particular for the foreign players, they need to understand where the clubs come from.
Yes.
When they come in, someone suggested the other day that they just sit down with a reel of Julian Dick's tackles, and they say, right, if you do this, fans will love you. They'd love you. It's like, you might not be it, but this is what they want. Or 20-minute sort of montage with John Moncur.
Yeah, it's true. It's a heritage thing, isn't it? And people like Tony Cottee and stuff, obviously they came up through the youth, and they understand the area, they understand the club, they understand the fans, and they know what they've got to deliver. But when you get someone that comes in, foreign international players who are, most of them are absolutely amazing, but they don't quite get. I don't feel they quite all of them get what it means to be a West Ham fan. Perhaps that comes off the wrong way to them, because we're screaming and shouting at them, because it's like, no, you've got to give it a bit of heart, you've got to give it a bit of soul. Come on, put those 2 feet in. I think you're right. It would do to have a bit of a history lesson when you join.
West Ham 101, love it.
Yeah.
All right, so TC's in. Who's the last piece of the Pryor puzzle?
Last piece of the Pryor puzzle. Sorry, I keep looking up because I've got my team laid out in front of me. It's as Harry called him, our Paolo. So I'm going to have Paolo Di Canio has to be there, right? He's phenomenal player, and he was another one that quite literally wore his heart on his sleeve. And
definitely. He's a different one. Oi, he's a different one to not talking to you, talking to the dog. He's like, again, we were just saying about foreign based players coming in and getting West Ham. He got West Ham, and the fans got him. And it wasn't about putting 2-footed tackles in for him. It was just about passion, pure Italian passion, wasn't it? And it just resonated with us. And this love affair, which still continues today, is still there. And I love him. I just think he's a fantastic person.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
And
It's lovely.
it was. I mean, I went to Rome for my honeymoon a couple of years ago, and I make a point of whenever I'm in any foreign country, I will naturally, like all West Ham fans, walk around in a West Ham shirt.
Always
And
travelling colours. I always travelling colours. Yeah.
exactly. And I walked into one bar restaurant, and they recognised it as West Ham and wanted my shirt. So I I obliged by going back and changing and bringing them my shirt.
Yeah.
And got free drinks for the rest of the holiday. It was brilliant because it was Di Canio. They said, "Oh, Di Canio, yes. You know, can we hang this in our restaurant?" I was like, "Yeah, of course you can. Mate. There you go." You know.
Oh,
So yeah, legend.
Yeah, legend. Always, literally always on holiday. Always take a West Ham shirt. You know, around the beach, around the pool. You know, you just start conversations. You see people, and there's always, and it's so true. It's like, I just think, and again, we're probably biased, but I don't see, you know, if I was looking around the pool and there was a guy in a Tottenham shirt, I don't see, you know, people congregating to him going, "Oh,
no, you don't."
Eric Dyer." No, it doesn't really work like that. You know what I mean? It's like where for West Ham, it always works. It just, I don't know why. It's a weird thing, but the amount of times, the amount of you know, random situations we've got ourselves into in our family just because I'm wearing a West Ham shirt, you know.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. And I said the other day, we've been social distancing for years. You know, we literally just go.
Yeah, we don't shake hands. We don't do anything like that. We just, yeah.
That's it. Nothing else. Yeah. Nothing else is needed, and you've made that bond, that connection, and
definitely.
And that's what's lovely.
Yeah.
Mark, man, that's it. Brilliant. Done.
Cheers.
Thank you so much, man. It's been good fun. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's been great chatting to you, and obviously thank you to everyone for watching as well. You know, like, share, subscribe. Appreciate all the work Mark's put in. He's got his team sheet in front of him as well. I can see, so he didn't make any mistakes. But it's been brilliant. Thank you, mate. Obviously, you know, please everyone share. You know, comments, make suggestions. Keep this whatever we've got going. I don't know what to call it, but until next time, from me and Mark, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Come on, you irons. You've got to do it. You've got to do it now. I've said it.
There you go.
Take care, everyone. See you soon. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye from me and Mark. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
No, just do this.